in order to connect. So that is where you need to have a trial or for both. Or if you are having your client, you need to have both the connectivity between your AnyPoint uh, client or and the Salesforce client or. So that is a must for in order to use MuleSoft Dev Agent. And other thing is that, since it's connected to the Salesforce, as of now, there is no Salesforce Einstein credit. So whatever prompt you write, there is no credit that is consumed out of Einstein. So you can do it as much as you want. So yeah, that's about MuleSoft Dev Agent introduction. And any questions so far, or shall we go ahead with the next slide? Okay, next slide, please. So yeah, this all things we can do with MuleSoft Dev Agent. So we can, as I mentioned, right, generate or modify API specification or Mule application. You can also deploy the application, publish asset to Exchange. You can also list and create API instance, apply a policy to instance, and get that from inside. So all these things are possible. Today, as part of the demo, I'm just covering the first part, like generate or modify API specification or Mule application. So that hopefully the demo should be able to, we should be able to see that. Okay. So next slide, Shyam. Okay, so yeah, prerequisite, right? So as I mentioned, we need to have a Visual Studio Code with the AnyPoint extension pack installed. Uh, this will the any code builder on the VS Code. So you will be able to see the AnyPoint code builder in your Visual Studio. Further, as I mentioned, like you need to have a Salesforce and AnyPoint platform on, and then you need to begin them. So I mean, all these things are mentioned as part of this refer to guide. Um, Yeah, so at the bottom we have this refer to, so you should be able to see that. I'm not covering all this setup as that as part of it because everything mentioned as part of the document. It's a MuleSoft documentation. You should be able to see all the steps how we need to establish that tenant relationship. Main thing is this two permissions: the any point code builder permission, the developer permission, and the generative AI user. So the first builder developer is required in case you are using the Visual Studio. I mean the ID on your system, not the cloud version of that. So in case you are using cloud, you don't require the first permission. If you are using the ID, then you need to have the any point build developer permission on your user profile. And the next is the MuleSoft Mule developer generative AI user. This is a must. In order to use the dev agent, you need to have this. Next slide. Any question on this? Okay, let's go ahead. Next slide. So the key benefits, right? So as I mentioned, we need to provide the prompts, natural language prompts. So that is where it creates the and Mule code within minutes. Shortly, I will be showing the demo. So it will create the complete API specification, the Mule code, the DWL file, the MUnits, everything done within minutes. Maybe 10 minutes, it is maximum that it takes. So it supports the rapid development in that way that the complete code can be created within minutes. Only thing is that, it's right. So, I mean, right now, when you create it, there might be few errors that you might see, which you need to resolve. So as a new version of the product is getting released, then you will see more mature product and probably, I mean, you in future will not even need to resolve those errors. So at this moment, when you create the code out of this dev agent, there might be some errors which might be there on the product, I mean, on the project, which you will be need to resolve. Okay. So automatic artifact generation, as I mentioned, just providing the natural language prompts that will create the API spec, grammar, whatever you mentioned as part of the um, use case requirement. Then it will create the apps, MUnit documentation, everything. Productivity boost definitely, like it creates the code within minutes, so it frees the developer to focus on logic and innovation. They don't need to worry about the RAML or the MUnits or documentation. It all gets created by itself. Cost efficient, as I mentioned, there is no licensing, and even the instant credit consumption is not there, and it is also possible with 1T, I mean the trial or Anypoint and Salesforce dialogers. So anyone who wants, they can be able to access it for free. There is no licensing cost for that one. And since it's connected through ACB, so you have a unified development environment. So you interact with AI features from within ACB, and you will be able to, as you are connected to any point platform, so you will be able to see real-time uh, updates from the endpoint platform. So that is unified development environment plays a good, good role. So yeah, those are the key benefits. Next slide, Shah. Yeah, so this is the trust layer. So as I mentioned, right, we have to establish a tenant relationship between the MuleSoft Anypoint platform and the Salesforce org. So all the trust layer is hosted and managed within Salesforce. So there is where from where you provide the prompts, and this will, when you provide the prompt using the MuleSoft proprietary data, it does the dynamic grounding on the prompt, and then it sends through this secure gateway to the Salesforce, okay, where all these tunnel models are in place. So it runs the prompt against the models. So, within the shared trust boundary of Salesforce with zero data retention. So, whatever is the default Salesforce models that are there, right? So, it will run that. What I know is that, it's Cloud, Sonnet, or ChatGPT. I think that what, it's tied to understand the prompt and uh, basically try to see which particular model will give better result, and that all things logic is happening from Salesforce within the Salesforce. So we don't need to worry about which model is being used. That is taken care by the Salesforce. So all these LLMs, those all this LLMs, everything will be residing on the Salesforce. We provide the prompt, it goes to the Salesforce, the LLM runs and it gives back the response, and it comes through secure gateway back to the trust layer and into the anypoint code builder. So that is how the complete uh, thing runs. Okay, from ACB to how the anypoint code builder to Salesforce, how the prompt and how the grounding happens, and where the LLM runs and how the response comes back. Okay, next slide.
Do we have any question from anyone?
I think next is demo, I believe. Yeah. So yeah, let me share my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yep.
Yes, Atul.
Hello? The Visual Studio,
Yeah,
can you
Atul.
see that?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Okay, okay, sure. So yeah, I will this the Visual Studio. So I'm not able. Where I wanted to demo. That system is not working. So in the sake of everyone's time, right, I joined it from here. Sorry about that. I will try to. I will not be able to complete the end to end where I wanted to, show how to resolve those errors because of the issue with my system. But what I will quickly do is how this works, right? So this is the MuleSoft Dev Agent. So once you connect that tenant relationship between any point platform and the Salesforce, and this is where you can see my any point platform access, right? So this is how, when you first try to connect, it will ask you for your any point credentials. You need to log in using your credentials, and that way, if you have all mission and the tenant relationship between any point platform and Salesforce is established, you will be able to see this dev agent icon over here on the Visual Studio. Okay. So as I mentioned, right, you need to have that extension pack installed. So this any point uh, extension pack. I think it's already installed on my system. That is the reason you are seeing Anypoint Code Builder. But this is the pack you need to install, Anypoint extension pack, what you see here. So you need to install this extension on your Visual Studio. Next is you need to establish that relationship between your Anypoint org and the Salesforce org. Third is you have the permission. Your user credential must have that two permission which I talked about, the Anypoint builder permission, code builder permission. And once everything is done, this is where you will be able to see the dev agent. Okay, MuleSoft Dev Agent. Now here, if you see, uh, this is what the most important part is, the manage MCP server. So if you see right now it is connected, so you will be able to see the green toggle button over here. And if you go things, I've approved I mean, I've given approval to everything so that it does not. Okay, so it's not. So let me quickly approve that. Otherwise, when I run the prompt, right, it will keep on asking me to for approval. So I think at the bottom we have approve all. And select all. Yeah, auto approve all tools. So this will enable all the MCP server. It will not ask for permissions. Okay, so but yeah, as you can see, right? So this is, I mean, when you are using the prompt, this is what is running in the background. All this MCP server, what you see, right? The create Mule project, all these tools are coming as part of that MCP server that Mule provides. So generate Mule for so this all tools are running in the background when you do when you provide a prompt. Okay, so yeah, all of this around 26 tools are provided right now by MuleSoft as part of the MCP server. And when we provide the prompt is evaluated against all this, and it helps to create the code and specification and whatnot. Okay, so this is how it works based on this MuleSoft MCP server. Now, if I come back to the MuleSoft Dev Agent, and now, I mean, as part of the demo, right, what to show, I mean, we have a organization where um, we want to have an employee onboarding process. So whenever a new employee is hired as part of the onboarding, right? I mean, their record is created in Salesforce. So Salesforce can be thought about as a HR system. So I created an employee custom object on Salesforce. So whenever a new record is inserted into the employee record, right? So that what happens as part of employee onboarding, right? The employee needs to be assigned a laptop. He needs to have a ID badge. So what I thought about to use this as a use case, like, and as soon as the employee record is created in Salesforce, what happens? It automatically um, triggers the process and creates two Zendesk tickets. So what I did earlier was I created a Zendesk system API using the Mule agent, and it deployed on trial my Anypoint platform trial org. And what I'm trying to do here is using that Zendesk system API, two tickets I'm trying to create on Zendesk so that it will be assigned to the IT support team. So as soon as these employees onboarded, two tickets are created for so that the laptop assignment and the ID badge creation happens. So that was the use case which I wanted to show, and I have a prompt. Let me show first. Hope my notepad is also visible.
Yes, it
Okay,
is.
are you able to see that the prompt?
Yeah, yeah.
This is what uh, yeah. So this is what I'm asking the dev agent to do. So Let me first, start this process. So what I will do is I just copy this, and in the meantime, I will let the dev agent do the work. Okay. So I will just paste it over here, the complete prompt. I will explain what I have mentioned as part of that, and I will just click on this enter button. Okay. So it will start the process. Based on six server tools, right? It will one after the other, it will create that API request, and soon after a few minutes, you will be able to see the complete code created. Okay. So coming to the prompt, right? So what I have told is developer employee onboarding process API code to listen for a new employee event from Salesforce system for employee C custom object. So this was the custom object which I created where the new employee, new hire record goes into and use Salesforce object operation for achieving this element. So whenever the any new record gets created using the on new object operation of Salesforce will be notified. I mean, the event would come in and it will trigger and create two separate tickets in Zendesk system. Okay, one for assigning a new laptop and another for creating an badge. And I'm telling the structure also, like what needs to be created along with the placeholder, like new laptop request for name, what is his phone number, what is his ID, and same thing on the ID badge. So I'm giving the placeholder and what ticket subject, what description, those things we use for creating that. And I'm also telling it like this is the Zendesk system API endpoint. So use this for configuring it, the HTTP post request. So I'm giving that detail. And in addition, I don't want to, there's already one file where, okay, this is in my other laptop. I did not change that. Probably this might not give the correct result because it's using my other laptop credentials. So yeah, read the dev YAML file. So what I mentioned was, read the dev YAML file from this location and use the Salesforce credentials from there. So it will intelligently go to that location and copy the Salesforce username, password, token value, and write it into your dev.yaml file. And then I'm telling it to follow the most practices, the guidelines, and the other details. Okay, and I'm also telling it to create the MUnits and README documentation. So everything I've covered as part of the instruction itself. Okay. Any questions on this? So this is where you see, right?
We have
It's
two
running in the
questions here
background. So
actually.
you should be able to see what. Yeah. Good.
So, like the question from Dheeraj is, does Mule has any guidelines for enterprise cyber review of these extension, MCP server structure, etc. Everything that's being used here has to go through cyber eyes in any enterprise, I believe. So, does MuleSoft any guidelines for cyber review of these extensions?
Cyber review, I'm not sure what does that mean. If it is from the security point of view, then, as I mentioned, it's all through the Salesforce trusted layer boundary. So it's all taken there by Salesforce. We don't need to worry about that. I mean, that is something, some kind of agreement between the LLMs and Salesforce. So nothing goes outside this trusted boundary. Everything's remain. No data retention is also done. So it's not that we are training against the data what we are providing. It's just that the policy is such that it's all managed and hosted on Salesforce. We are just using that tenant relationship to connect from Salesforce, and all the LLMs and everything are happening. That thing is happening on the Salesforce and within that trusted boundary. So yeah, I mean, I don't have the
Yeah.
clear answer, but we have to trust on that trusted boundary, the shared trust boundary what Salesforce is providing. So that we have to rely upon. Hope that
Okay,
answers.
the next question is like, when we use agent continuously for some time, it starts giving some error like can't connect to model API error, which is resolved by restarting Visual Studio. So do you have any idea on this? What is the exact issue here? Have you faced this? When you use the agent continuously for some time, it's not able to connect to the model and it gives a model API error. Nitin, if you want to elaborate your question, feel free.
Yes, so what I have seen, so let's say we are using our dev agent continuously for some time, right? And we have given like multiple prompts. We have generated the API spec. Also, we have generated some code also. So after some time, I have like faced it starts giving like cannot connect to model API error. I'm not sure it is maybe because of some token limitation or something, but when I restart the Visual Studio, it will start like working again. So just wanted to check if yeah, Atul, you also have faced this issue or like what can be the main reason for this?
No, I have not faced this issue. I mean, it might be because all these API requests are going right. I have seen that API request not work the first time, but it does the second or third time when it tries to run the same prompt against the request. So I mean, it does work. I've seen that the same API request error first time, but it when it runs the second time it resolves. But I've not faced that particular issue which you are asking for. I mean, I have not myself. I've not used that extensively, like back to back. Right now, as you are seeing, right, I'm just running it over here, and it it's fine. Might be some temporary issue or something. I'm not
Okay,
sure because I've never faced that issue before.
okay,
But I've seen
thanks.
that, when this API request, what you're saying, right? It doesn't, yeah, it doesn't work one time, but it does work the second time when it tries. So I've seen that those kind of error, but not related to any IDE specific where it, sorry, where you need to restart and that way it encounters. Okay, so as you're seeing all this documentation, the README file, it is doing all the, I think, related work it has already done. It's already created those. See, API streaming field, something of sort, right? So it will try to create that using some other backup logic or something. It will try to see from the model what is our backup thing. It will try to create that. So let me resume this task. It's trying to create that gitignore file. So it created that gitignore. See this command, right? This is the wrong command where it's trying to go to this directory, cd employee, and doing a and onto the Maven clean test, which is wrong. I mean, you need to have two different commands for doing that. Let's create this mule artifact JSON file. So yeah, the task is completed. All the code has been created. So it's telling the what all things it has done as part of the prompt which provided. Okay. So error handling, Zendesk integration, the Salesforce configuration. Uh, yeah. So this all requests which I provided, the ID badge and the laptop request. So even the test cases it has created. Okay, so I mean, this has got created. Let me import this project. Let me see the location where it is. Employee onboarding. I'll try to import it in my. No, sorry. New projects and the new projects. Importing that project into the studio. Yeah, so the project which got created few minutes back. So I'll just select that folder. Just loading the modules, taking some time. Yeah. So as you can see, right, all this flow, whatever I mentioned, like, on new employee object, right? So it used that all the logging, the transformation, where to store the, I mean, it's create the variables, and this is where it's calling the create laptop ticket. I mean, calling the, and all the validation. It's also smart enough to understand, I mean, their fields and add different kind of validation in terms of the name, email, phone. So adding the regex expression and everything. So it creates all those flows, the validation, and then the laptop ticket, which I wanted to show to you, the Zendesk call. Right? So it created that HTTP request call, which I the post request with the endpoint, and I gave the exact endpoint, so it used that for this endpoint. The structure which I mentioned, right? So it created that structure, and the placeholder which I shared there, right? So it created all those placeholder. It replaced those all placeholder values into the DWL file. Okay. So all these things it has done by itself, and as you can within 10 to 15 minutes, I mean the code is ready. Obviously, I mean as you can see, there are some red marks here, like there are 6 errors that you see. We need to resolve those. Something related to the DWL and some other MUnits related. See, it always comes this. We'll try to fix this. Yeah. Prefix E for an event. Let me see what this is. This is one example, which is you set variable employee data. So this is MUnit. So if you go to MUnit, see, I mean the project structure wise, right? So it created that DWA. So all those things are externalized. Uh, it created that property file which I mentioned, dev.yaml. Of course, luckily, I mean it was in my this system, so it took that and created that replace those value. I don't have to manually go and key in my credentials, and then this all the units, right? Yeah, there are some errors which we saw just now. So let me go to the message flow. So yeah, this is all the success and error scenario like this is to validate the employee database and I mean all the positive and negative test scenarios it has created by itself. This is negative scenario where the data is missing the name, missing the email. Um, yeah, this is ticket success. This is where calling that Zendesk call. So it's trying to test that out. The Zendesk call, Zendesk piece is trying to test that out. So all this uh, things are created. I won't be able to show the complete demo because the end to end I wanted to show that, but my the other laptop is not working. But as you see, the error is resolved. Um, yeah, there is no error right now. I just fixed one of the MUnits and it MUnit thing, and right now, but yeah, when you run this, right, there might be some other issues which we have seen earlier. Like when I try to run this, there are some errors that comes by parsing the though interpreted during the build time, but it gets those problems you will be able to see at runtime itself. So if I try to run this, run as new application, you will be able to see few errors which we need to resolve. So I just resolve, as you can see, right? I just resolve one MUnit. So I just write that and then applied the fix, and that way it resolved all the issues that were there. And I did not do anything else. And then there would be some issue that might you will be able to see at runtime. So yeah, that is the thing which you need to resolve, and that way, I mean, your code is deployment ready. And you can give it the command that deploy this change to your anypoint platform sandbox environment, then it will go and deploy the application over there. Any questions?
Uh, Atul, could you please show the properties what you are giving to create the configuration over here? Is that provided to the endpoint code builder? Or can you revisit that?
You mean the prompt?
No, the configuration property is like how it is going to pick up the Salesforce credentials and other stuff.
Okay, so yeah, I provided the folder location. Okay, if you see in my prompt,
Mhm.
right, I am giving that go to. I mean, I created a different application. Okay, employs this app API which I created earlier. Okay, and I
Mhm.
told it to go to this location in the dev YAML file and copy the Salesforce credentials from there. Read the dev.yaml
Okay.
from this location. So this was already I created one system API where I already provide Salesforce credential. Just asking to copy the values. I mean, copy the credentials value from there. I did not provide that go ahead and copy the username or the password or the token value. So it understood by itself, and you see, right, it's already deployed. Even this got deployed. Okay, I did not have to change anything. Now if I try to run, right, let me try to run. Oh, it's already running, right. Let me try to create one. I mean, that postman collection is on my system. Let me request. You should be able to see. I mean, that way it will be the end-to-end demo. Okay. So I will create one request, and you should be able to see something coming here. Okay, that application is not deployed. Okay. 1 second, let me run that application on my other laptop. Just a second. It will come. And that way it will be end-to-end. I was thinking we'll go into some more errors. I was not expecting it to be so quick and without any error. I was thinking that most of the time might go into resolving those errors, but fortunately we did not receive much error. So I'm just starting
Since
that system on my. Uh-huh.
Atul, one more question. Like you told that we can directly deploy it to the endpoint platform sandbox environment. We can also apply the policies. Do we have to apply the policies manually, and how we will configure the credentials for deployment?
Yeah, I haven't tried that much, as I mentioned, right? I mean, you need to provide the keywords and what you need to pass during the runtime deployment. Since all this MCP server, right? I mean, what I was showing, it's all based on those the tools that are there. So it understand all those parameters that we need to provide at runtime. So I mean, whatever runtime, like say, a platform class secret. So if you provide that key value, I've not tried myself how it works, but I just, since I was not using any of the policy in my project, I mean the sample demo which I'm showing to you, I've not created any
Hmm.
policy for that one. So that is where I'm not using this anypoint platform client ID or secret, but you can provide, I mean, it will be able to understand. You just need to provide that, the keyword, like, add this anypoint platform client ID or client secret, while it as a runtime property, and you should be able to understand that and add those values. Okay.
Okay, Atul, got it.
So yeah, you just need to understand your project structure, what kind of use cases, and accordingly, the prompt needs to be adjusted accordingly as per your use case requirement and project requirement. So I just, I mean, you should be able to do that.
Sure.
Another question, like, if you have any domain projects or like, common dependencies, like in an enterprise, right, you will have the common error handler or global error handler. So you need to provide those
Mhm.
dependencies, and you should ask the prompt. I mean, you should keep it in the prompt saying that you can use this dependency for global error handling or
Right.
something.
Right. Prompts was, go and copy Salesforce credentials and use that, right? So I mean, same way you can provide an existing project which you have built, like the error handler or whatever, and then you can ask use that file. Okay, copy that file or use that file into your current project. Okay, so that way it will be able to do that. Okay, so you just need to provide that location of already created framework that you are having, and it will be able to import that into your current project.
And if anything specific to that organization standards or procedures, is it a prompt, or we need to um, like C4E recommendations? There will be a C4E recommendations for each organization, right? How my project should be, like, so in
Mhm.
my organization we have um, we are not doing MUnits. Okay, so because all our are async and they are
Mhm.
not worried with the MUnit, so you can skip those kind of things. So it's all you need
Right,
to say
right.
the
I mean,
instructions,
well,
whatever the prompts you put in there.
yeah, it's all instruction. If you don't ask it to, I mean, see, I've given my development guidelines. Okay, you can have yours, right? All the implementation guideline, like main flow will be should be named like this. This is the implementation. So don't create this thing. MUnit, I have told to create MUnit assets within the SRC test folder. So I mean that way you can add whatever guidelines you want for your development implementation. You can those as per your project requirement, and it should be able. I mean, right now you are able to see, right? It's creating all these things as per the instruction which I provided. It created the detail folder, it created everything, the SRC
Okay.
test folder, the error
Okay.
dot
Once you are so yeah, so, yeah, I got it. So once your source created, like you are still again using it to refine using prompts, or you need to go to studio and you need to do something, or we can still refine or reiterate or retry with the prompts for refining these generated project source.
So yeah, I mean, for now, what I'm doing is, I mean, whatever error we are getting as part of the process, right? So we are, adding it to the prompt, like, some of the guidelines you can see, right? So I've told specifically, I've seen that, it used to give us related to dependency, though it gave this time also, but it was a quick fix. But it used to add a latest Mule validation module, which does not used to work. So I gave it specifically like use this version of Mule validation module. So that way,
Okay.
you have to try it out, and what error you are getting for your project, you can try to add those as part of the prompt to tell like these are the common errors you are seeing, and it should not be happening for the new project which you are creating. And all these things, I think, with the latest release, I think there is one going to happen soon. Uh, so last month only it got released, but yeah, all this are happening. I mean, all these fixes are going on, and as an there will be version that gets released soon, and most of this issue related to MUnits and those things will be.
Atul, we lost you somehow. I'm not able to hear you. Is it with everyone, or you guys can hear Atul?
Yeah, we are not able to hear. Okay, I think he'll dropped off also. Hey, Atul. I think uh, we are good to wrap up the session. If I'm stopping the recording, if